Welcome everybody to this first series of Life on Track, the television show that's all about helping you get into the driver's seat of your own life, personally and professionally. I'm your host, Erin, and I'd love to get right into this. I have an amazing guest with us today, Sir Dr. James Dentley. Sir Dr. James Dentley. I'm so excited to have him here. He's extraordinary. I've met James in person a few times, and you guys are in for a treat. I want to read James's bio, Sir Dr. James's bio, because I don't want to leave anything out. He's amazing. So, Sir Dr. James Dentley is an entrepreneur, best-selling author, philanthropist, and one of the nation's top life and business strategists. As one of the world's most renowned motivational speakers, James Dentley is a dynamic personality and highly sought-after resource in business and professional circles for Fortune 500 CEOs, small business owners, nonprofit and community leaders from all sectors of society looking to expand opportunity. James hosts and speaks at events all over the world. He is the best-selling author of The 5 Frequencies of High Performance, The Frequencies of Top Performers, and MMLM Mastery, and has a new book coming out, The 6th Frequency. He's going to tell us all about that also. He created the #1 speakers and communication program, Inspired to Speak Action Camp. His passion is to empower entrepreneurs and business owners to create massive success and to achieve their dreams. James's passion for coaching and mentoring speakers has transformed good speakers to great speakers and great speakers to legendary. He has spent over 3 decades working with startups to major global brands to help them increase sales productivity and overall success. James is an innovator with a remarkable ability to determine and build success plans to help business owners seize immediate market opportunities. His message will enlighten anyone that owns a business or would like to capitalize their entrepreneurial dream. James's message will inspire your audience to take action and to turn passion into success. As a philanthropist, James has received the Icon Award from U4G, Unite for Good, and the first prestigious Legacy Award from the City Gala, just to name a few. Both companies are dedicated to building a sustainable social good movement. It's James's personal goal to get people around the world active in spreading good by partnering with the United for Good and the City Gala. James has funded numerous programs to help homeless people, seniors, veterans, and provides educational tools and resources for inner city children. He believes it is our duty to give back and to help those in need. James never stops believing that with proper guidance and training, you can achieve anything you desire in life. You are extraordinary. Welcome to Life on Track.
Well, thank you so much, Erin. That's a long bio.
It's so good. It's so good. You've accomplished so much in your life. And the first question that I ask everybody that I have on, I've been hosting summits for years, like since 2017, and now the TV show. And the first question I've asked hundreds of speakers is, how did you get into doing what you're doing and why?
Wow. I just finished our premiere of the documentary of my life, Time to Win. I always believe, Erin, that a life worth living is worth recording. And I believe that every life matters and every life should be recorded, because if not, our great grandchildren will never know we even existed. And we cheat them out of a path that we can put them on, because so many people have come behind us that make us who we are. And we back into a lot, but we have to pay that forward. So there's people and angels above us, people around us that support us, and people behind us that pushed us here. So, when I look at for me when it started from the time of birth. It's part of destiny, but I didn't know it. I had no clue. So we wander around trying to find ourselves and don't spend enough time just trying to be ourselves. I tried many things. My mom working in a grocery store, raising my 3 sisters and myself, and working in a dentist's office at night. I was just one of those people that wanted to provide for my family. If we wanted extra, I went out and earned it. I worked hard, got really creative. So I knew I can do that. I got a job at 17 at a fast food restaurant. At 18, I became the youngest general manager in the nation and one of the top 5 restaurants. And I took hourly employees and got them into management. Not knowing it was a gift, it was just fun. It was always fun being good. When everybody's good around you, then there's no hard work. We can do it better than everybody else. And we love to brag when you're a kid, when you're young. And I was the youngest district manager, regional manager, moved to Texas from Chicago, ran steak and lobster restaurants with 150 employees. And then I found I had a gift to be able to communicate and create relationships with people who didn't come from the inner city. I mean, I had 150 employees and there was only one African American. I had the most wonderful time in the world and built the most incredible relationships from 1980 that still last to this day. So I was able to diverse with that. So I guess what I would say to answer your question without going all the way through my life is that, when you look at the crock pot of our life and all the ingredients that go in there from our experiences and who we are genetically and our habits, our paradigm, it kind of, when you're able to understand it, you know how to create it as a recipe to create these certain outcomes in your life and how to overcome the obstacles that are just going to show up anyway. And once you learn how to create a recipe, Erin, it's like learning how to bake a great cake. Once you can cook a cake, you can bake it in any kitchen. Doesn't matter.
I love it. I love it. I love it, James. And I love your body of work. I love what you just said about everybody should document their life.
Yeah.
Otherwise generations go by and who is Erin Lay? Who is James Dentley?
Yeah.
And I love that you said that. I never really thought about it that way. I had cancer. I talk about this all the time when I was 25. And it was lymphoblastic lymphoma. And very few people lived with that diagnosis in 1991 when I was a kid. And I wrote a book because I kept defying the odds. I read a lot of personal development books. I learned about the whole inner world and what we could do and universal law and everything else. Mm-hmm. And I kept living every time the doctor said I was going to die. I went on to have 3 kids that they swore would never happen. And so Sloan Kettering, the doctors started having their patients call me at home. And that's how I started coaching in the 90s.
Yeah.
Extensions. Everybody had an extension in their home. So I was doing group coaching, James, before it was vogue to call it group coaching. But I loved it. And I was working on Wall Street before the hand. And that was so hard. But what you were saying before, when you love it and it's fun and it's easy when you're utilizing your God-given gifts.
Yeah.
And I wrote a book called The Will to Live. I wrote a lot of books, but that one documents my life and my story and how I overcame that.
Yeah.
I never thought about it until you just said just now that everybody should document their story. Everybody's got a story.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Everybody's got that. So everybody listening, write a book.
Yeah.
Write a book and contact James and find out how to go out and speak about your life and speak about your business. I want to get into the 5 frequencies because this is so cool. This is so cool. And it deals with every area of life, your spirit, your mindset, physical body, relationships, and financial stability. So can you tell us what the 5 frequencies are and how people can implement them?
Oh, wow. First of all, to understand frequency, period. We are electrical charged beings. There's energy and frequency in everything, especially in the human existence, but it gets so deep. And before I even go into that, look, I want to say congratulations to you and the work that you're doing and your story, because see, I'm 4 years and 30 days cancer free. The gift of that, as you have learned, is that when people have taking that path, if you've never experienced it, you want to pray with them or say, how can I support you? But you have now the ability to say, I know how you feel. Let's talk about it. And that's a great gift that you bring to humanity through the adversities of your life and your experiences. So I think that's just so incredibly cool.
Oh, thank you. And congratulations to you. God bless you.
Thank you.
Really.
So when you look at frequency, everything's energy and energy is everything. Energy is transferred. It doesn't live, die. It just moves all the time. And I think that one of the challenges that we have is that we don't tap in. We're not in harmony with the truth about this universe, about our space in this universe, who we are and who we can possibly be. So we limit ourselves based upon our surroundings and our experiences and the challenges that lie ahead of us, and we focus on those things instead of looking at the hope and the possibility and really understanding that if you look at it from conception, when you have this little egg and this little sperm, this 99% water, and just like an acorn, the potential of the oak tree is in the acorn. The potential of us as human beings was in the coming together of these 2 little cellular pieces of what I call, it's almost like, it's all water. It's like pus. It's like pooey. And here we are, right? And everything we can be is in there. And if that can happen, 90% water, if that can happen and you can be where you are right now, then what can't happen? We look at everything that's existing in the world today, whether We look at the fact that they're going to Mars or they're on Mars doing stuff, and people are going to be on Mars, or
Yeah.
the technologies that we enjoy today. Everything needed to create it was already here. We just couldn't see it. So that means we were not tapped into the right frequencies. Like a dog whistle, we can't hear it because we're not in tune with that. And everything in the universe speaks. So when you look at the frequency of spirit and the mindset, relationships, your finances, frequency of just truth in itself, you know that it comes down to number one, the word agreement. Everything needs to operate in agreement. You know, every relationship you have with people that are close to you, there's some type of agreement there. In the enrollment process, there's agreement there. And you have to spend your time around people who are in agreement with you or you are in agreement with, which means core values. Not that means that somebody's always right. But I'll give you an example. You can have friends that smoke, right?
Right.
But you don't hang out in their car.
Right.
You smell like smoke, right?
Right.
And I live in Chicago. When people smoke, they go out in 0-degree weather and do this fire tribunal and get around and puff, puff, puff. And I don't do that because I don't smoke, right?
Right.
Doesn't mean that they're bad. It's just that we're
Right.
not in agreement, so we can't spend that time together in doing those things. Now,
Right.
when you're spending time with people, then you're manifesting, you're growing, and you're charging up that agreement. So you have to really measure those relationships. And the mindset is that, like now, I have people around me. Everyone's challenge is to create 1,000 goals and create a life plan of 1,000 years. 1,000. Because most people are worried about what are they going to do tomorrow, the bills, their to-do list. And you have
Right.
to have that. But when you expand to 1,000 years, that means you have the audacity to plot a course for your children's 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 children.
Huh.
Politicians do it all the time. They do things and assign people to courts and assign different laws that are going to be here past their lifetime. So their
Yeah.
ideology, whether you agree with it or not, they're plotting a course for the future when we're working on operating on an instant. So when you think that way and you get 1,000 goals, then you're forced to stimulate your mind to expand. And you know how people say, Erin, you have to think outside of the box?
Right.
I hate that because in
I
reality, there is no box. Because if I have to think outside of the box, I just have to get right here and I'm outside that box.
Right.
But if I get rid of the box, then there's possibility. So
Right.
I teach people to stretch, to stimulate their mind, to train it to stretch, to seek new opportunities, to seek. Because if everything that we enjoy was already here and we can't see it, then how come? Then that means we can see the next thing, but we have to exercise the mind to stretch out to it.
So are you saying that all your answers are in the box, like within us, or all the answers are get rid of the box altogether?
Well, I'm saying that when they say think outside of the box,
Right.
there is no box, and yet
Right.
it's already within us because
Right.
we're not a box. You see, there's an electrical field outside of us. Like I can feel you through technology.
Yes.
You know,
Yes.
energy is
Yeah.
that real. So there's no box. It's just you transference of energy. And when you understand that, and there's possibility, that means your thinking is different because your questions are different.
Which has to do with frequency, which has
Every,
everything to do with frequency and vibration, and everything is vibration. Can you,
yeah.
because I really honestly believe, James, that the majority of the world just doesn't know. Like I didn't know until I was 25 and picked up all those personal development books
Mhm.
about frequency and vibration, universal law, and all that stuff that it is, just the same way gravity is. Everything hits the ground, like this all it is. Can you explain? Because I honestly believe the majority of people don't know.
Okay. I make it real simple. Have you ever been around someone who they're complaining and the life just terrible and they're tired and they're downtrodden and their energy is low and they lower your energy? You almost will feel bad being there. You're in a lower level of frequency of victimhood, of that it's not your fault nor responsibility. It's victimhood. That's a frequency you go to. You ever been in a frequency where you hit it, everything was like a zone? Whether
Yeah.
you were typing or doing it, everything was smooth. That's a frequency. And when you understand these things, then you know how to tap into the things that you want. When you have a relationship and that relationship is operating on 10, you're in a frequency. You're manifesting. You say, I want this person in my life. And usually you'll either get it or it'll come around later. Or you may realize later you don't want it and you're thankful you didn't get it. You may regret after you got it. But people claim a house, they project frequency out into the universe and it's reciprocated, it's answered. So when you look at your mindset and you have a frequency of, well, I've got to pay these bills, or I really got to get my car fixed, then your frequency on what you have to do, instead of shifting that frequency to solve the issue forever. It's forever. People say, I need to get a car, and they get it. I need to get an apartment, and they get it. But then they complain when the car is raggedy and it's breaking down because they're not very clear. There's no clarity. There's no specificity. They're not specific about what it is that they want. Not understanding that you will get the desires of your heart if you are specific with a little work and spending time around the right people, because some people just don't make it because they're not good at doing that. But that doesn't mean they can't accomplish it. They have to create their frequency of relationships around them that help you to accomplish, that empower you. Now, I put it to you like this. We've heard the word self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-esteem really doesn't come from self. Self-esteem comes from the people around you. If you're special, if someone tells you how good you look, you feel a certain way. It encourages them to want to keep looking good. A little kid's playing a sport, they look over to the parent, and the parent is looking at them with eyes of approval and eyes of celebration, and they run harder. See, it comes from the relationships of other people. Because when you take that same situation and you dress up and somebody tells you how bad you look and point out every flaw, it takes your frequency down. So this doesn't build your self-esteem. You didn't do it on your own. You can talk yourself into it, but you have to get it from others. So that's why the frequency of relationships was so important. And that taps into the frequency of spirit, of being in harmony, of being a state of gratitude of all things, being grateful to every organ in your body, to meditate with intention and say, I love you, heart, even though I abuse you all the time. I love you, heart. I love you, liver. Thank you so much for getting these toxins out of my body and giving me every essence of it. Because when you do that, you're speaking life into yourself. And remember, we're 70% water. The earth is 70% water. You can speak to water or play certain melodies and tones to water. It will crystallize different.
Yes.
Because the water speaks even to the fish in this ocean, and we're all connected. Water goes up, down, around. It's the only element that defies gravity.
Dr. Amato did an amazing study on that, where he spoke to the water bottles and froze them, and spoke beautifully to one, negatively to the other, froze them, and they crystallized beautifully and negatively, and we're, like you said, 70% water. So the way we speak to ourselves is huge. The way we think, whether it's verbal or nonverbal, the way we're communicating with ourselves. That's a tremendous point that you just made. That again, most people don't realize that they're 70% water. And go ahead.
No, go ahead. Go.
No, it's just beautiful what you just said. And to raise the vibration, how can people raise their vibration? I love meditation. I credit meditation and visualization for everything that I've accomplished that everybody said would not happen. I lived every time they said I'd die. I had 3 kids when they swore it would never happen. I grew my business after a tumultuous divorce, and in amazing ways. But I'm a firm believer in meditation and, like you said, a crystal clear vision. So every decision you make throughout the day is in line with that ultimate destiny. How can people raise their vibration? Because like you, I exist in love, joy, and inner peace. That's my norm.
Yeah.
I'll dip down periodically to anger and resentment or whatever, but I don't stay there. I go right back up, because I know what happens if we're low vibe. Yeah. And then people get sick and relationships fall apart and everything else. And you don't want that happening. So how can people raise their vibration and keep it high based on your experience?
Yes. Oh, that's good. I wrote a program in 1999 called MAP, Millionaire Aptitude Programming. And it was really about overcoming self-defeating behaviors first, and identifying and acknowledging that there is, first of all, an issue. There's some reason you're not getting where you want to go. You end up in the same exact place. So you look at it for the areas in your life when there was a perceived loss of power, love, acceptance, worthiness, or control. Because when you lose that, or you perceive you lose it, then we spin as human beings. That's why I always teach, when things go wrong, don't go wrong with it. You got to think about what's the next right thing. So first of all, you acknowledge there's an issue. Second of all, you have to look at the resentments in your life and where they come from. We're habitual people. Our theta stage in the mother's womb is where our habits really begin, well before we even get outside of this world, because of vibration that we feel, energy, negative. A fear of falling is a loss of control. Fear of loud noises is a loss of love, because love is tender, love is sweet, love soothes. When you use your voice, and when I train speakers, Erin, Loud and fast, you can jolt the nervous system. Loud and slow is for emphasis. You make emphasis on the nervous system. Low and fast is for engagement. Low and slow is for emotion. Every movie is set up that way to already invoke the emotion they want in the outcome before you even saw the movie. They already have you. So they understand. So when you understand what they understand, then you can go on a journey of change. So where the resentments? Who are you? I had a young lady in the 90s, or maybe early 2000s. She had resentment against her mom and dad because she grew up and she said no one was ever there for her. But when I went a little deeper, her dad died when she was a baby. Her mother worked 2.5 jobs to support her. But all she could think about is, I'm all by myself. Nobody's here for me. So she had that resentment. And we carry these resentments, and now we capture human defense mechanisms to starve off of the feelings of feeling inadequate. So we can blame it on somebody else and make it their fault, or we can make a joke out of it, humor like it doesn't really matter, like I don't really care, or we can fight against it, or we can or we can just be a victim. It's a lot of ways you can take that on, and you take it on. There's a frequency attached to it, which stifles your light, which takes possibility away from you of what you're really born to be. So what you have to get around, first of all, I believe it's relationships, the people you spend time around, the books you read, shows like this, you watch, you listen to the stories. You sometimes we feel like we're all alone and we hear somebody else's story and we say, wow, I know my life sucks, but I'd rather have mine than hers.
Soap operas were good for that.
Yeah. So we have to put it all back into perspective. And the main thing is that you have to have a maintenance plan, and a maintenance plan to keep it. In the Bible, there's a verse about a man named Legion and had so many demons in Legion inside his body. And when the demons were cast away, having nowhere to go, they came back and brought more friends. He was worse off. So we slingshot back to what we know because we seek normacy, and normacy can be anything. That's why Stockholm syndrome is real. Normacy, the body seeks to survive in any situation, even if it's terrible for you. So you have to have this maintenance plan where you have to consistently do a couple of things, in my opinion. Number one, you got to be a lifelong learner. And you have to be a teacher because once taught, twice learned. If you're sharing the things you learn and then you learn and you keep doing it over and over, you begin to walk it because your thoughts turn into words, your words create your actions, continuous actions create your habits. And when the poet said, who am I? I'm your constant companion. I am your greatest helper or your heaviest burden. I can lift you up to greatness or I can take you down to failure. If you teach me to do a thing repeatedly, I'll begin to do it automatically. I am the first of all those who are great, alas, those who are failures as well. Those who are great, I have made great. Those who are failures, I have made failures. I am not a machine, yet I operate with the precision of a machine, yet the intelligence of a human being. But if you teach me and train me, I'll lay the work at your feet. But if you are easy with me, I will destroy you. You can run me for profit or you can run me for ruin. It makes no difference to me. Who am I? I am called habit. Habit is my name. The habits dictate your character. Your character equals your destiny. You don't get what you want, you get who you are. You want more, be more. Become better.
Yes. And it's all the subconscious.
Yes.
I love when you speak. I love when I saw you on Greg Reed's stage, and I love when you speak. What you just said right there is everything you're saying is so powerful. I don't even know if you realize how powerful your message is, like every single second. But what you just, was that a quote of yours? What did you say the quote was?
Habit. That quote was habit.
Right. Did you make that quote?
I write a lot of my stuff, but I didn't write habit. You can Google habit and get that point.
It's beautiful, James. It's beautiful. And it just, as you were saying it just had a new, to me, it's the subconscious.
Yeah. But it's about how you say it.
Right.
I could say I love you in certain tones and they have different meanings.
Right. Oh, you're amazing. So with regard to the subconscious and people creating habits, what can they do, again, to raise their frequency, to raise their vibration, so that that's their new norm, as opposed to life sucks, I'm exhausted all the time. I know with the sum total of the 5 we surround ourselves with, that's so important. Who are you hanging out with? What can they do to, I love Otto's suggestion. What can they do to reprogram the subconscious and raise their frequency?
Yeah. Well, the Bible says, first ye be transformed by renewing of your mind. You have to read. You have to go to YouTube and listen to Elon Tesla, Bob Proctor, um, everyone who talks about frequency. John Asseroff, myself, my book Five Frequencies, my new book, The Sixth Frequency, my new documentary that's coming out on my TV network, JD3TV.com. All these different things that you want to tap into, but you really have to shift your environment. Who are you spending your time around? Because you're going to find your life right there. And if people say, well, how do I leave my friends? You don't leave your friends. You create bigger goals and bigger dreams, and they create separation.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if I
Yeah.
got a
Say that
goal,
again. Say that again.
you
Say that
create
again.
you create bigger goals and bigger dreams, and that by default will create separation. So if I have a dream and a goal of becoming better, or let's say I want to be in the gym, I want to get really fit, then I'm in the gym. If your dream and a goal is to go drinking, you're on the bar. It created separation because I'm in the gym. We're still friends. I still love you. I'm just in the gym. You're in the bar. I'll call you later. Okay. So if I want to build something great and you want to live in the status quo, that is your decision. It doesn't make me better than you. It's just that I am doing the things that's taking me towards my dreams and goals. And you're taking you towards the things that go. And if they're not in alignment, that's why agreement is so important. Everything that works because it's in an agreement, it's an alignment. If you sit back, think about the times you lay back in a chair on a nice, beautiful day or at a beach, and you look at the beautiful sky, and you look at those beautiful clouds, and you hear those birds, and you see that water, and you can hear it, and then you get in tune with that, and your nervous system starts getting back in alignment with that, and everything calms down. And now everything that comes towards you, you see it in slow motion because you're at peace, you're in harmony with the universe itself. And when you can get in those states, then you can go into acceptance and gratitude, and now you can begin to think bigger and dream of more. Not for you, because the main focus, I'll give you two ways. Your success can be someone else's miracle, number one.
Right.
Number two, when you decide not to win, then somebody else always loses.
When you decide to win, somebody else always loses.
Yeah.
Okay.
When you
Can we
decide
go
not to
deeper
win,
into that?
somebody loses. Well, if you decide not to do your best, then what example are you setting for the people that you say you love?
Right. You
If
always
you
do your
decide,
best. You do
if
your
you
best.
decide not to go for it, if you decide, okay, if you decide to work, there's nothing wrong with it if that's your choice. But if you decide to work a job 9 to 5, retire, depending on family, friends, and the federal government, like 97% of other people,
Right.
then what example are you sharing with everyone who watches you? That this is what we do. Because human beings don't fail, human beings conform.
Right. Got it.
We have
Cool.
a different DNA. We have a different fingerprint, true?
Yes.
They can take your strand of hair and my strand of hair and prove that I didn't kill that person that you killed.
Yes.
Uh,
Yes. Yes.
I killed. We can go to Clear, go to the airport, and they can scan your eyes and know it's you, right?
Yeah.
So now, and the Bible says we're beautifully and wonderfully made, holy and lacking nothing, born of a real priesthood. So with all the things we have in common, we have these things that separate us, right? And somewhere down the line, we decide to be like everybody else. And you don't have to be like anybody but you, not better than,
Right.
but different than, and in harmony. Because you look at one body, many members. This finger is a part of me, but this finger is a finger. This is not James. If you saw this laying on the sidewalk, it's not me, it's a finger. But then this finger has to be attached to some things that work in harmony. The left hand and the right hand in harmony to work to create the functionality that we enjoy. So you have to have your relationships in harmony, your goals and dreams in harmony. What do you want and why? And what is going to be the cost if you don't go get it?
I love this. And it brings me back to your what you were saying before about self-esteem.
Mm-hmm.
When you were saying self-esteem, it comes from the outer world, from others and stuff like that. I was just talking to somebody a little while ago, and I was saying, like, growing up, when I was a little girl, I had a great household, still do. I love my parents. And I was the oldest child, the oldest grandchild. And it was so much fun, really, until I hit kindergarten.
Yeah.
There was no pre-K I'm 56.
Right.
So we went to kindergarten. And all of a sudden, it was early 70s, and the teacher was telling me I should be ashamed of myself and give me reasons why I should be ashamed of myself. And things were never good enough. And I'm like, I'm just coloring a chick for Easter. I tell this story all the time. I'm like, how can I not be good enough? It's just a chick for my mother for Easter. But it stayed with me,
Mm-hmm.
and then in first grade, the teacher would hit me and stuff like that for speaking, and it stayed with me. So I I started living my life based on the outer world. I
Yeah.
wanted to become what the outer world expected from me,
Yeah.
which was so unnerving. And I didn't even realize why I was having anxiety attacks and everything else until I got cancer at 25.
Yeah.
And it gave me the 2.5 years and the space to become fully realigned with who I truly am.
Right.
And I don't count on the outer world for validation for anything.
Right. Right.
Literally everything is within myself. I know I'm following the golden rule. My
Yeah.
whole business is just to up level people's lives personally and professionally, like that. So I know I'm living a life, so I don't, I think people can get, Dorian, I know people can get to a point where they don't believe, they don't have to take on the beliefs of the outer world to create their self-esteem, right? Can
Yes.
you expand upon that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, you have to be around people that encourage you, that empower you. Les Brown used to say, when you treat a child as they are, they may remain the same. But if you treat them as they could be, they will grow into what they should be. I had a friend of mine, Jay Samick. He wrote a book called Disrupt You. Very, very successful, very kind man. And he wrote a second book, and he wanted to, in his book, he did a ledger of how to teach someone how to become a millionaire in 12 months. So he went to a young man. He said, look, I want to ask you a few questions. I want to find a person I can mentor, become a millionaire in 12 months. And I want to ask you some questions. He came back 6 months later and he said, look, I've interviewed 100 people. Out of the 100 people, you're the most likely person to become a millionaire. He worked with this young man. He did it in 11 months. The truth of the matter is, he did not talk to 100 people. He only talked to one. But he told him that you are most likely able to do it.
Huh.
See, he took doubt away and put hope in front of him. He put faith in front of him. He held him by his hand. That was the maintenance plan. What are you attaching it to? Because if you don't attach it to something, you can get a breakthrough, but without attachment, you have to go back.
I love this. Oh my God. I love this. And you're reinforcing you are the sum total of the 5 people you hang around with. If
Yeah.
they're reinforcing negative things and to stay where you are and don't grow,
Yes.
or you're not good enough or whatever, the self-limiting beliefs, that's where you're going to stay.
Yeah.
And who you're surrounding yourself with will up level your life if you allow it.
Yeah.
Oh God, I love you.
You have to look at what are you comparing it to. Look, like I tell people right now, I'm building my network and everything else, the NFTs, organizations. I'm building a $5 billion company now. As there, I'm sharing it with everybody that's in the network that's active, and even the show host. Everybody gets a piece. And I look at it and say, well, people say, well, why are you thinking about money? No, it's not money. It's about expression. Because $5 billion is a lot of money compared to what? Because the Elon Musk is not.
Right.
See?
Right.
So what are you comparing? I had a friend of mine. I'll leave it here. A friend of mine, Carl Batillo, in 1992. I had sold my restaurants, nightclubs, real estate. Oh man, my life was a shambles. I got divorced, moved to Atlanta from Chicago, starting over. Carl lived in Chicago, in Atlanta, and I was at his house. He lived so well. He was so kind, generous. I mean, he would drink cognac that was like $85 a shot in 1988. And
Right.
this guy, and we was at his house. I said, man, I have an idea. He said, what is it? I said, I'm going to make $1 million. You know what he said, Erin?
What?
Just one.
There you go.
He,
There you go. Yes.
he took away the ability for me to ever think that small again.
Yes.
And it wasn't about money. It was about expression. If I believe in God, then I believe I can do all things. That means I can create. If I'm in that image, I'm in alignment, because in the beginning, that's all our creator did was to create. From that time to this time and more, and beyond this time, it's about creating.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so funny. I had a couple, like 2 years ago, I said I wanted to create a $3.3 billion business,
Mhm.
with inventions and all these different things. There's a plan. And to me, I'm all about make your decision beyond your wildest dreams. You know what I mean? Like the sky is just the beginning kind of a thing. And if I shared it with a lot of people, my friends, they were like, oh, come on, come on.
Yeah.
Like my growing up friends, come on,
Mhm.
And because even though I grew up in Brooklyn until I was 16, Brooklyn, New York until I was 16, and then Garden City, Long Island, I moved to. So I lived both lives.
Mhm.
And in every area for my friends growing up, they would just like, they couldn't believe it. Eric Swanson, when I said it to him, and he's one of my best friends, when I said it to him, he was like, of course you can. But he's like, he literally meant it. He's like, of course you can.
Yes.
And that's, that's the mentality that I want to surround myself with, that I want to maintain.
Self-esteem. How'd you feel?
Fantastic. I was like, he believes in me. I know I can do it.
That's what they call him, Mr. Awesome.
Yes, there you go. There you go. Yes. Yes, when you have people believing in you, it takes away that I don't know, like the resistance or whatever that feeling is, you know? Yes, I love everything that you said. Thank you so much. You're amazing. And your website, I want people to check you out because you also have free resources and stuff like that at your website.
Yeah.
What would you like to?
It's jamesdentley.com, and then we have the JD3TV.com. But I'm launching in 2 weeks a new community club called JD3Community.com, where we're going to be airdropping tens of thousands of dollars of tokens where you can buy free things. We have an NFT drop that's coming where you can attend one of our events. We'll give you free NFTs that will give you great experiences. So if you want to be in a gala and Beyonce's there, we can make it happen. If you want to be in Disney and Disney park is closed and hang out with us, we'll do it. You want to be in a film festival, you want to get your kids around some cool nonprofits where they can get into tech or have other experiences. We've been very blessed and very fortunate to be able to do it. And if you want to, like, we're going to be at a knighting ceremony next week, right?
I know. Yes. Yes. Yeah. So excited.
I have been knighted already, but that's cool. But then we have a lot of fun there. But that's going to be such an experience. And when I tell you what, we had on my premiere of my documentary Time to Win at the Imagine Theater last week, I brought along 8 show hosts from our network. And we created videos for them. We created banners for them and little posters like this, where they can hold it. People take their pictures and hold it up. And they had, and I featured them with me and did a panel discussion. Had the Secretary of State of Illinois there. We presented him a check for $10,000 for his charity that we love and believe in. But to see them on that big screen, to see them on a movie theater, you go to the movies to see other people. And when I saw the preview before we showed the actual doc, I couldn't see me because it's me, but I should see them. And they had their families there, their kids there, and everything I got with the little kids. Mommy, I want to do that. I want to be you when I grow up. I want to do that. And see, I think that's when you say, how do you keep it, the maintenance of it? You keep what you have by giving it away. You understand there is no lack. You just learn how to I had to learn really how to love, Erin. And from that day when I learned and discovered that key, I've been happy every day for at least 25 years. I don't have bad days. I tried to have one because everybody talked about it. It doesn't work out for me. So I just choose it because I choose to love people for them, not for me, allowing them to be who they are because I can love them across the street.
Love them from a distance. Yeah. Yes. And I love that word choice. And we have a choice all day, every day. We can either be in the present moment in negativity and have the people, place, and things come to us to keep us there. Or we could be in the present moment in gratitude, appreciation, and abundance and all that kind of a mindset, and then attract the people, place, and things to keep us there. You're amazing. And how can people get in touch with you?
They can go to my info at jd3media.com. Info at jd3media.com. Some of my people will get right back with you, or you can simply go and you can Google me. I'm everywhere, so I'm not really hard to. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. Go to James Dentley at jamesdentley360.com. That's it.
Okay.
That gives you everything.
Oh, wait. James Dentley. I put in the wrong one.
jamesdentley360.com.
Okay. I'll put it in the show notes.
Thank you so much.
You're so good. I'm so looking forward to seeing you next week at the knighting ceremony.
Yeah. And when I launch my new show, you got to come on, please, pretty please.
I would love to. You're so good. You're so good. Awesome. All right. So everybody will be able to thank you so much, James Dentley. Brilliant, incredible wisdom. And everybody has to run to your website, check you out, and get in touch with you as fast as possible because you change lives all day, every day in a magnitude that I rarely see. So thank you.
Bless you.
All right. Everybody, you'll be able to see this show on every online streaming TV thing like Apple TV and Amazon Prime and Amazon Fire, Roku, and all of them. And you go to lifeontrack.tv and you can sign up to see this episode and more. And I started a YouTube channel, so you'll be able to see that there as well. And it's been fantastic. So, all right, everybody, have a magnificent day. And always remember to live onward and upward. Love you.